You know, that really wasn't that hard. God damn it!
Oh, it's kind of cold up here. Hey everyone, SoranotRoxas here, and we're supposedly getting snow tomorrow. Yes, here on the East Coast. And, well, you know you really don't want to hear about that. What is this about? Zootopia. So I finally went to go see it. Alright, this is the definitive review. No, I'm just kidding. There has been mostly majority positive reviews towards this movie, and I can definitely see that after watching it. So, officially, you know, what do I think about it? You know, a lot of people say it is great, you know, they say it's phenomenal. It's some people say it's good, it got some cons in there as well. Okay, so what do I personally think about it? I think it's good. I think it really is good. I really enjoyed this film. This is possibly, like, as of right now, my favorite Disney film is Wreck-It Ralph. I think I stated that for the last 3 years, well, the last couple of years. I think Zootopia has possibly beaten that. This was a very fantastic, very well done film. And before I go on any further with the review, I was reading reviews for this beforehand. Now, normally I don't because I like to see the movie first, but I knew it was going to be a while before I got a chance to. Hold on a sec. Just gonna switch the light back here because it's like making a glare on my glasses and it's driving me crazy. So, I officially was going to, you know, see the movie first before I decided to make a review on it, but I gave in and I saw some reviews for it as well. Of course, there were some minor spoilers I got beforehand. I was so fucking pissed, but that's alright. That's my fault for looking up into a movie that I haven't seen yet. And there was one particular critic that I haven't read his reviews in a while. It's Richard Roper from the Chicago Sun-Times, and he was talking about how Zootopia isn't just like, you know, his favorite film of the year or the last 10 decades. Like, this is his favorite Disney film of all time now. And I was like, really? This movie's that good? And then Rotten Tomatoes had it at 100%. And then once it got over to the States, it started to roll down to about 99, 98, and I think it's back up to 99. So, yeah, so Rotten Tomatoes was like really pushing this movie as well, and the audience score was about around the same. I think about 97 or so. I might have to double check that. But yeah, so everyone was giving this movie overall praise. Even some other internet critics I look at, such as the Brad Jones, the Cinema Snob. I saw his review on it. Him and his friend Sarah, they did a review on it in the car, and they talked about and they really enjoyed the movie as well. There was one internet critic that I still have. There's one thing that he said that I kind of disagree with, and even though he said that the movie was good, and you guys might know him, he's Doug Walker, the guy who plays the Nostalgia Critic. If you don't know who he is or you don't know what he looks like, I'll put a picture of him up on the screen, or you can just like Google search it, but most likely the picture's going to be there anyway. I'm going to edit that in possibly later. And there's one particular thing he said. I actually have my laptop here. He mentioned how, hey, this thing that was bad when you was a kid, it's still bad. And what he's referring to is the message of the film Zootopia. And the message of this film is basically diversity, racism, prejudice. And it's about judging somebody else even before you get a chance to know them. You know, the whole don't judge a book by your cover, but it's done a little bit smartly here. And at some parts just like plain just thrown out there, while you have one animal saying, why don't you go back to where you belong, you know, sort of like a reference to what's been going on nowadays too with Donald Trump and his supporters. Now, I'm not going to really get into the whole political scenes, but we do have a lot of people out there that are like that, and a lot of his followers are definitely like that, especially towards the Hispanic culture, as far as like the Mexicans. Why don't you go back to Mexico, that sort of thing, and it's disgusting, man. It really is disgusting, and we're starting to see that a lot more. And you know, I knew we haven't moved past this. You know, racism is always going to be a thing. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. I'm going to go back to what Doug Walker said. And he said that statement about how, hey, remember this thing when you was a kid? You know, it's still bad. Like racism, it's still bad. You shouldn't judge people. I made a response to that, and I don't think he saw it. I'm pretty sure he didn't see it. He's not going to see this video, obviously. But I just wanted to say this because I actually wrote this to him on his Facebook page. But with all the comments there, he's not going to see it. I wrote a response to it. I'm just going to read the response because I can't remember what I said all the way because this was like a paragraph long. And to that response that he made, I said, believe it or not, Doug, some people don't see it, okay? Some people, whether raised that way or became that way over time, honestly believe that their way is just and have no reason to change, which is why racism and prejudice is still a thing. I love when films can take something old and do something new with it. Heck, even something like Inside Out has done that before. And you know, and Inside Out, he also mentions in his review that that Zootopia isn't as funny as he thought it was going to be. I guess he was looking for something more comedic, and I think here it was about the message. I think he kind of missed that a little bit. I think he understands it, but he kind of missed that point a little bit because when I think about something like Inside Out, which was also a movie that he liked, I personally enjoyed it too. It's my favorite Pixar movie as of now, and it really, Inside Out really wasn't that funny. It really wasn't, but it was the story behind it and what it was trying to push with its message and how much of an impact it made and how much it delivered on that message, and that's what really made it such a great film. So it doesn't have to be comedic gold in order for something to be written well, okay? You know, just because it's a kids movie, or you know, people think they see animation, they think it's for kids. I don't think that. You know, I think animation's for everybody. I mean, Kung Fu Panda, every time I mention Kung Fu Panda, especially at my job, people, you know, they laugh and about it. And I'm like, well, you know, it may sound like a stupid name, but the Kung Fu Panda is actually good. You know, Kung Fu Panda 3 is actually good, and it's a shame that, you know, people just see it like, oh, you know, Kung Fu Panda, that sounds ridiculous. A panda doing Kung Fu, it's a kid's movie. It can have no redeeming message about it whatsoever. And it's such a shame because Kung Fu Panda 3 did have a good message. Not as good as this one. So yeah, Zootopia is a better film. Although you should see Kung Fu Panda 3 if you haven't already. I already stated that before. But Disney was, you know, very hopeful about getting an Oscar for this. I think you guys are. I don't know about the song though, but I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But yeah, it's and I continue from there to say. But yeah, you know, heck, Inside Out wasn't all that funny, but what made it a great film is how it was presented, blah, blah. I just said that, and that was one of my favorite movies of last year, and blah, 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 blah. So, it's different when, I guess coming from different perspectives. You know, Doug Walker, he's obviously not black. So, as a black man in America, I have gotten... even though I'm young, I'm 24 years old, right? I have gotten this sort of prejudiceness, or had to deal with this sort of racism, whether I'm at my job or I'm just, you know, out on like a city bus or something, and somebody will move to the next seat, you know, somebody of a different race will move to the next seat because I'm black, you know, that sort of thing. And, you know, it's a real thing, and it should be talked about. So, no, I don't agree with that statement that he said, because, you know, a lot of people don't know. You know, a lot of people, even if they can know right from wrong, they just don't care. And this is why a movie like this can be so important for people, because it can also... It talks about privilege, and even though that the Zootopians, majority of the Zootopians were herbivores, they were not carnivorous, they wasn't predators, they was mostly prey. So they could have made the predators do anything they want. Hell, they could have went with the original Zootopia idea, which was to have all predators wear shock collars. That is an interesting story. I want to see what they can do with that. They should make that some type of short where it's like some type of dream for one of the characters. That'll be really good. But you know, it's something that does exist and should be talked about. And that's just all I'm saying. If you can do it in a smart way, in a friendly, kid-friendly family way, then do that. And that's what Disney did here. So what is Zootopia about? Okay, so Zootopia is about Judy Hopps. If you don't know the premise already, Judy Hopps is Bunny from Bunny Bureau or something like that. I think that's the place that's called, which population is constantly going up, of course. There are two multiplying jokes in here about bunnies having sex, and there are two jokes in here, and they both work. They're both very funny, and they're both really quick. Yeah, so she's coming, so she wants to join, the police force, so she does. She joins the police academy, she graduates at the top of her class, and she gets put on the force in the center of Zootopia City. But because she's the only bunny cop on the force, they treat her differently, obviously, and this is where the whole thing of diversity comes in. But she gets her chance when she has to find a missing mammal. So that's the basic of the movie, and then there she meets Nick Wilde, and then they go on this sort of mystery adventure, which is actually really good. You really want to see what happens towards the end. You want to see exactly why these animals are going savage, as they say in the movie. They're reverting back to their predator, their feral forms. Okay, so they're going back to how they were thousands of years ago. I would love to know the history of Zootopia. It's kind of brief. They just said like thousands of years ago, predators and prey used to fight. I'm like, where did the evolution come from? But whatever. Also, were there any reptiles in this movie? I don't think there was like any alligators or anything like that. Okay, anyway, so that's the premise of the story. And then from there you had this beautiful animation, which is so state of the art, and to where you can see like every strand of hair on each character. This world I would love to see in some type of video game interactive setting. Oh my god. If they do not put this in something like Kingdom Hearts, they are missing out. They're putting Tangled in Kingdom Hearts. I know they got Brian Howard on board. Please put Zootopia in there. I know it may be last minute. Put it in there. I don't give a shit. Find some way to work it in. I don't care if Sora and the rest of them go off on like just some like random journey with these characters. Oh, that'll be amazing. At the beginning of the movie, there is there's a certain relationship that Judy has with her parents compared to her other 276 brothers and sisters. My god. Bunnies are amazing, aren't they? I'm sad, I'm gonna edit that out. So bunnies are amazing. So anyway, the relationship that she has with her mother and father is sort of like, the mother and father, they love her, but they don't want to encourage her behavior to the point where, they might feel it'll be too dangerous for her. They think that bunnies should keep it a certain way, that bunnies should stay down, safe and whatnot. And, Judy's just sort of adventurous. She's a very determined character and a good character that, the kids can look up to. So she wants to become the first bunny cop, and her parents are like, okay, well, if you're going to go ahead and do this, because, we can't stop you from doing this, which makes sense. They should let her live her own life. They do try to, convince her, but they don't force it on her, and that's what I really like. But there is this sense of prejudice that her parents have towards predators, bears and weasels. They mention it. Her father even plays golf with a weasel. He's like, yeah, but he cheats like hell. so that's a thing. And so they have all this stuff: fox repellent, fox taser, and all this. They're very afraid of foxes. And even though Judy is a very nice person, a very optimistic individual, she still brings the fox spray with her, and she says that she's bringing it only just to make her parents shut up, but at the same time there is still this sort of lingering sentiment in the back of her head where she still has this prejudice towards foxes, and it happened because of when she was a kid at 9 years old and she was bullied by a fox, as well as the fact that her parents didn't make it any better. So this is also another good message, because it's saying that, this sort of racial, what's the word I'm looking for? Racial division, dividing is, starts at home. It starts with the parents, and maybe you should talk about your kids with with this sort of thing about privilege, about race, about diversity. This is something that people should be raised on, and a lot of people aren't raised on. Some kids are raised to hate, or they see their parents, even though, kids I don't think are flat out evil. Okay, but they see their parents doing evil stuff, or they have bad things happen to them, to the point where they're just like, okay, you know what, this particular person, I don't know him, but just because he's of a darker tone than me, I can't trust him, all because of this last guy who was of a darker tone, robbed my parents or something like that, or they did something hurtful to me. And this is something that, like I said earlier, that should be talked about, but I kind of like how they subtly show that. And it's actually shown kind of multiple times. Her parents are very protective of her, but at the same time, they're kind of hurting her in her progression in life, but she doesn't let that get her down. So, as far as like character development, these are some really good characters. Both Nick and Judy are very interesting. There are some very good side characters. There is a Arctic Shrew. I messed up in my reaction video. I said that he was a mole. He's an Arctic Shrew. And he's voiced by Maurice LaMarche, it's sort of like this godfather thing going on. He has a daughter who becomes friends with Judy. That's also a thing. And and you have a number of other characters, such as the chief of police, and of course you have Clawhauser, who is the front desk attendant police officer, who also becomes friends with Judy as well. And you have Gazelle, who's voiced by Shakira, who I'm going to talk about Shakira's music in a second. The setting for the film, I actually had to change the light there. The setting for the film is absolutely amazing. I want to see more of this world. And that's possibly one of my only disappointments with the film. The film is fantastic. You should definitely go see it. But one of my only disappointments with the film is that I wanted to see more of this world. And we got a chance to see it from like certain points of view. But just the function and the way this world works, and I said this when I saw the reaction trailer, where they started showing like different things of the world and how exactly it works with these animals, both tall and small. It's very well done. It really is. This feels like a functioning, breathing city that could actually exist if our world was actually interesting. Now let me stop. I mean, we got imaginary stuff like this, so that's fine. But yeah, this also makes me wonder how other places in the world works, because they established that Zootopia is the first city that have both predator and prey alike living together in harmony. So I wonder, is there other places, is there other Zootopias out there, or do everybody just have their own respective, does everybody have their own, like, respective area where they come from? And either way, that would be fine. I would just love to see that. The film is also written well. From what I saw in the credits, because I stayed for the credits, I seen that there was about 7 writers here, and I've heard that they actually, the whole thing with the original Zootopia film, it had the whole shock collar thing, so they actually had to end up changing it a year into development. That's pretty crazy. So they ended up changing the film from what it originally was, which seemed to be a much darker film. Although I would love to see that version of it, I'm glad of the version that we got, but you can tell from like the dialogue and the story that this was something that had a lot of thought put into it. And I can see why they really wanted to go with the whole diversity angle. Like, they didn't leave that out, even from the original cut. But 7 writers, man. 6 or 7 writers. That is a lot, okay? This is... I don't think I've seen that many writers on an animated film. At least not in a Disney animated film. I've never seen anything higher than 3. But I could be wrong. The music in the film is pretty catchy, very enjoyable. Shakira's song, I'm just going to come out here and say it. I like it. I think it's catchy. It's the most generic thing I've heard. It has to be. It's so generic. I'm sorry. It really is. It's just like, I try everything, don't give up, don't give in. And that's literally the lyrics of the song. And I'm just like, okay, this is like every Disney song in the 90s. You know, it's just I heard it before. It seems like something you will hear off the Disney Channel. But even though it's kind of catchy, it's just it doesn't seem like, you know, there was like a lot of. I hate to say this because I'm sure Shakira is a great person and she seems like such a nice person, but it seemed like this song had a lot of thought into it. It just seemed too generic. It's just, I'm sorry, it is. It's just too generic, but it's still an enjoyable song. And you know, I was rocking my head to it, and I was kicking my feet to it in the theater, and you know, it was an enjoyable song. Yeah, that's about it. But overall, in conclusion, I gotta wrap this up because this video is going on longer than what it's supposed to. I love these characters. I love this setting. The music is very enjoyable. I love the animation. I would love to see more of these characters. Now, they stated that they can I guess do a Zootopia 2, or that Zootopia 2 isn't necessarily in production, but they have an idea for it, or they're going to throw out some stuff first. Most likely, you know, like I said, we're going to get like a Wreck-It Ralph 2 or a Frozen 2 beforehand, but it would be nice to see Walt Disney Studios actually do some sequels here. We're supposed to also get like a Big Hero 6 sequel. That would be really good. But with these characters, Zootopia, I would love to see these characters, and I would love to see more Zootopia. You've established a world here that feels very real, and I like that. A world that feels very developed. That seems like this took you a long time to make. It's just beautiful to look at, man. I was just like in awe at even. There's a part when they're in the rainforest and it's very dark, very gloomy. There's a contrast between colors too. Snow is very bright. You know, you have the green in the rainforest is a very dull green, and then you have the desert area, which has this sort of like reddish brown color that they use. It's, oh my god. As an art student, it was really so beautiful to see. And I want to see more of that. I would love for them to continue the adventures of Judy and Nick. I don't even care if they make like a spin-off TV series. I will watch it. You know, DreamWorks can do that with every fucking thing they do. I'm sure Disney can. Alright, so guys, that's it. Yes, go see Zootopia if you haven't. Most likely you have, because everyone who wanted to see the movie has already saw the movie. And yeah, that's about it. It's a very enjoyable film, and I hope you guys actually enjoyed this review. This went on for far too long. I said I was going to make my review shorter. I apologize. I really love this film. That's how you know I really love a film, when the review is long like this. Okay, so guys, thanks for watching, and it's time for me to go away possibly for another week. We got Batman and Superman coming out next week. I don't think I'm gonna go see it next week, so possibly the week after that. Spring break is coming up. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, it's supposed to snow or whatever tomorrow. I don't know if it's gonna be a lot. I'm most likely gonna have to go to work anyway, so whatever. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Okay, be honest, am I like the only one that got the Breaking Bad and the Frozen reference? My god, this film was so good. Oh, okay, see you guys later.